Japan is an island nation that is made up of over 6,000 islands. The four largest islands make up the majority of the country's land. In the 18th century, Japan became unified into a strong state. In 794, Emperor Kamnu moved the capital to what is now Kyoto. This started Japan's Heian period, where much of today's distinct Japanese culture emerged, including art, literature, poetry, and music. Japan entered into a feudal era in the 10th and 11th centuries. During this time, the samurai, a ruling caste of warriors, came into power. The leader of the most powerful clan of samurais was called the shogun. The unending civil war broke out in 1467. It was between the shogun and the feudal warlords. This war lasted for nearly 100 years. Japan became unified again in 1590. The Portuguese arrived in Japan in the 1500s. They began trade and learned about European society in the West. However, in 1639, the shogun closed the country to outside contact and trade. Commodore Matthew Perry of the United States forced Japan to reopen its relations in 1854. In World War II, Japan allied with the Axis powers of Germany and Italy. On December 7, 1941, Japan attacked the U.S., bombing Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. This caused the U.S. to enter the war on the side of the Allies. Japan surrendered in 1945 when the U.S. dropped atomic bombs on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In 1947, Japan adopted a constitution with a democratic government. Since then, Japan has grown into a powerful nation with one of the world's largest economies. The schooling years in Japan's education system are segmented along the lines of 6-3-3-4. 6 years of primary or elementary education, 3 years of middle or junior high school, 3 years of high school, and 4 years of a university. Japan's teachers are generally less educated than those of other developed countries. In the U.S., 49% of elementary school teachers and 54% of secondary school teachers held a postgraduate degree in 2007. American and Japanese schools structures differ in many ways. The most significant way is that Japanese schools incorporated a national curriculum created by the Japanese Ministry of Education. Thus, unlike the educational system in the U.S., in which states determine its own curriculum, the federal government decides on what each school must teach, how to teach it, and even what books to teach it with. A second structural difference between Japanese and American schools is simply the amount of days students are in school. Students in Japan spend 240 days a year in school. That's 60 days more than their American counterparts.